Alright, so I recently made a video that I reacted to my 2018 draft winners and losers, and honestly, I had a lot of good takes on that have aged very well. So for today's video, I wanted to humble myself. You guys know me, a big Knicks fan, and when the Knicks made a salary dump trade in the 2022 offseason at the beginning of it, it lined them up to go out and have enough cap space to sign a point guard from the Dallas Mavericks. You may know him, Jalen Brunson. And I remember very well, I did not like the idea of the Knicks going after Brunson. So today, I'm going to react to probably one of my worst takes, maybe in my lifetime, just given how well Jalen Brunson has been as a Knick. So yeah, let's see what I got to say, and it's just not going to age well. I'm going to embarrass myself, but we got to do it. I got to humble myself.
Not a happy camper right now. So, what is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Welcome back here today to a reaction video shortly after the Knicks just traded away Nerlens Noel and Alec Burks to the Pistons for a salary dump. So Woj reported about 45 minutes ago that the Knicks are trading Nerlens Noel and Alec Burks to the Pistons. The Knicks will unload 19 more in salary, clearing the way for cap space to try and sign Jalen Brunson.
It is funny, like, the first replies here is imagine doing all this for Jalen Brunson. And yeah, like, when the Knicks made this move, they were coming off a very disappointing 2022 season. They went to the playoffs in 2021. And I thought Brunson really was just going to make them kind of like a mediocre team. They were going to probably hover around the 6 and 8 seed, as I'll get into it probably here. And that was my reasoning. And I want to say that a lot of people also didn't think that this was going to be a great move for the Knicks. A lot of people were clowning giving Brunson $25 million. But boy, did we not know what was going to happen and how good he was going to be for them.
Knicks included 2 future second-round picks and cash in the deal. Those picks ended up being Detroit, its 2023 second-round pick. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they got that second from the Marcus Morris trade with the Clippers back in 2020. And then they also sent 2024 second-round pick via Miami. Not really sure how the Knicks got that. As well as $6 million. So, what are they paying, like half of Alec Burks' deal? I mean, so they clear up 19 mil, but they give up 6 mil now. I never really understood how cash really worked in the NBA, because in baseball it makes sense because it's coming out of the owner's pockets. It's like unlimited cap space. And basketball, it's interesting because, like, does that 6 million mean like it's coming out of the Burks deal? Like, so instead of offloading 19 mil, you offload 6 mil. Are the Knicks using 6 million of cap space? I'm like, here you go. Do they get 6 extra mil of cap space? So you guys can kind of maybe correct me there in the comments, but that's going to be such a minuscule detail in this video, which is going to be like a mini rant for me because I really haven't been able to do this. I mean, I've talked about it on stream when they made that salary dump, moving off of like the Ousmane Dieng pick and Kemba Walker. So the Knicks basically have cleared 30 million salary cap space to offer Dallas's Jalen.
Oh yeah, I forgot that the Knicks traded out of that pick basically for OKC to take the rights, or it was Detroit to take the rights of Kemba Walker to get off of that like $11 million he was owed. I forgot about that.
Runs in the neighborhood of a max contract. So apparently if the Knicks offer them like 25 mil, the Mavs really can't get up there because they're a luxury tax team, because they're paying guys like Dwight Powell and Tim Hardaway Jr. and Christian Wood and Maxi Kleber a decent amount of money.
Just a whole lot of mid to be a luxury tax team. Wow.
So therefore, they're going to be a tax team, and them paying Jalen Brunson 25 mil will really cost them like 65 mil for like a year or something like that. So it's kind of crazy that the Mavs, they kind of shot themselves in the foot there because they could use a Jalen Brunson, and they're all obviously paying Bertans and Dinwiddie as well. So the Knicks,
and this is pre-Kyrie Irving, yeah.
I don't know. I've seen so many different numbers out there. It could be like 22 mil a year, where Fred VanVleet got. He wants a little bit more than Fred VanVleet, so 25 mil. And Jalen Brunson is what, 25 years old. And I'll go over like maybe some of his stats in this video, but like it's kind of tough when the Knicks, so like you look at the Eastern Conference, right, and you have teams like the Milwaukee Bucks with Giannis Antetokounmpo. You have teams like the Brooklyn Nets with Kevin Durant. You have teams like the Boston Celtics with Tatum, Heat with Butler, Sixers.
Also, great reasoning too. Yeah, like I don't think Brunson, nobody thought that he was going to end up making them this good where they can actually compete against teams like Milwaukee and some of these other teams in the Eastern Conference, but I'd give him a shot at least.
And these are the teams that are competing for a final spot with top 10 players in this league or borderline top 10 guys. And you're committing 30 mil, 40 mil, 45 mil to some of these players. And their sidekicks, Kyrie Irving, Chris Middleton, Jaylen Brown, Bam Adebayo, James Harden, you're committing it also $30 million to because they're top 40 guys in this league, most of them. And you want them to be kind of that 1A to 1B. You're looking at the Knicks roster right now. The Knicks, like, they're going to probably pay RJ Barrett $25 million this offseason. I would think so. If they waited off till next year, I mean, he'll still be restricted but it would be kind of risky to do that if like RJ's like, let's do 25 mil now, let's get it done. I feel like the Knicks should do that. So say you're paying 90% of your cap space to Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, and RJ Barrett. What's that team's peak?
All right, so honestly, well, the peak actually was making it at round 1, and I think I looked at this in such like a closed-minded point of view here, because yes, the Jalen Brunson was going to make the Knicks a bottom 5-ish team in the East. Maybe they were like, I forget what they were, the 10th seed that year in the East. They were going to put them, or like because they didn't make the play-in tournament, so they were lower than that. Like from that stretch to being a contender for the finals with just the Brunson signing. And I was like, that's what the Knicks should wait for, right? They should wait for Giannis or an Embiid or somebody like that that they can go out and sign, that they can actually be a contender with that one move. But I looked at this such a backwards way that you should look at this, and this was going to be a stepping stone to make the Knicks very lucrative as a team and just improve on the margins. Like, you know how long it's been since the Knicks have had consistent success, where this year might be the first year in a while, probably back since 2012, 2013, and one of those was a first round exit, was the Knicks are going to make back-to-back playoffs. And that happened, I think, like the last time in like 2000 or 01. So the fact that the Brunson has made the Knicks like a relative competitive team in the East, they beat Cleveland. They upsetted Cleveland last year in 5 games. They pushed Miami, who beat Boston, who beat Milwaukee to 6 games in round 2. So the Knicks have become a respectable team with Jalen Brunson. And yes, maybe there could have been a Donovan Mitchell move in here, and I probably didn't want to move RJ Barrett for Donovan Mitchell at that time because I just held out thinking, okay, he can actually live up to the hype of that 3rd overall pick that we drafted him to be. And I think I just looked at this as a complete wrong way that I should have, and I didn't realize that Brunson, with like a new usage, with his efficiency, like he was coming off, you could see 50% from the field, 37% from 3. Year prior in Dallas, 52% from the field, 40% from 3. And how good he was against Utah when Luka was out in the playoffs. Man, this could be my worst take ever.
Say maybe hypothetically they get Donovan Mitchell on their team.
There we go.
Probably not going to happen. But that's not even, I'm not even going to say hypothetically. What is a lineup of Brunson, Fournier, Barrett, Randle, and let's say they re-sign Mitch Robb? Where does that get you? A 6 seed at absolute best. We saw them overperform last year, not this past season, but the one prior, where they were the 4 seed, and they lost a gentleman's sweep to the Hawks. That Hawks team, you could say, even
that just also wasn't a gentleman's sweep either. I didn't know what that meant.
Better this past year, and they were the 8th seed, and they lost to the Heat. Like, so the Knicks are nowhere near being a contending team. And Jalen Brunson is a good player. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he's been improving. I wouldn't say each year, because freshman or rookie year to sophomore year wasn't crazy, but he had a nice improvement this year. I mean, his usage went up, right? If we just kind of take a look at his advanced numbers, like his usage went up a little bit. I mean, it was a career high, about 22%. He shot 50 from the field, 37 from 3. I mean, he's been a noticeably good 3-point shooter throughout his career. He's a solid playmaker, but he's obviously played every year alongside, or at least with, Luka Doncic. So maybe he hasn't been that lead point guard, and he's 25. The Knicks are probably going to give him a 4-year deal, so you're getting most of his prime years. I think I would like this deal a lot more if they didn't have Julius Randle and you were building a foundation with RJ Barrett and Jalen Brunson. I could get totally behind that. You have Quickly, you have Reddish, you have Grimes, you have Obi, Jericho Sims, Nerlens Noel. You can
Cam Reddish, Obi Toppin. And I also, it's like, I hated Julius Randle. I didn't like him in his first year with the Knicks. When he helped lead the Knicks to a 4 seed in the East, I was like, this isn't real. I'm not buying into this. This is just a 1-year fluke. And then at the end of the 2022 season, he came back down to what he did in his first year in New York and was inefficient, didn't hustle on defense. And there are still problems with Julius Randle's game, but I will say, I'll say it right now, I'll be a bigger man. The fact that Randle has missed so much time with the Knicks this year, and watching like Dante DiVincenzo and Josh Hart take all these shots that they like have to do now that like guys have been hurt, it makes me miss Randle, and it makes me appreciate for what he's given to the Knicks. And that's like the thing, like, would you move Randle for, I don't know, would you trade him in the offseason, or would you trade him in general? But then you got to replace 24 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists. That is insanely tough to replace. Someone that's made 2 All-NBA teams. This was recorded before he made the second one, and his second All-Star appearance. But Randle's a really good player. If he didn't get hurt this year, he could have made his 3rd All-NBA team, or All-Star game. And he was, like, he was an All-Star this year. Never mind, he was an All-Star this year. So he's a 3-time All-Star with the Knicks. And I think I had good reasons to hate Julius Randle, because obviously he didn't show up in the playoffs for us against the Hawks at this time. He didn't show up against Miami a year later, basically, or even Cleveland at times. He kind of gets into his own head. Like, when his shots are not falling, he does not want to get back on defense. He'll complain to the refs, and there are problems with this game in that aspect. But him being out this year has definitely made me appreciate Julius Randle more.
You could build a young core there. But no, the Knicks realized, okay, last offseason we made 3 regrettable moves. I mean, probably 5 if you count in the Julius Randle extension and the Evan Fournier signing. 3 of them.
And now that extension looks great, but yeah, the Fournier signing wasn't great.
They just
It did land them Bojan Bogdanovic right now, though.
immediately, or they would have just kind of erased immediately. They had to pair up $6 million in cash, 2 seconds to get off of Burks and Noel, which honestly isn't too bad. I think Burks was pretty valuable around the league, but Nerlens Noel definitely wasn't. But it's a 1-year deal. Like, the Pistons aren't going after anybody major, clearly. Probably not going after Aiden, not going after Miles Bridges. Have to change up some of my free agency predictions before that drops on Wednesday, aka tomorrow. So they can take on those contracts, and that's fine. I mean, they can maybe flip them at the deadline, or hey, help mentor the young guys. Noel can help mentor Stewart and Duran, and Burks can help mentor Cade, Hayes, and Ivy, and Sadiq Bey as well. But the Knicks realized, okay, and then like the Kemba Walker signing, which I'm not going to say was a dumb move. I thought it was a great move. I like that, and I like the Burks signing. I didn't like the...
I loved them getting Kemba Walker. I was like, we finally have a point guard. Well, Matt, here is your point guard, Jalen Brunson, that you're just not hyping up whatsoever.
Noel signing. Obviously didn't like the Randle and Fournier signings, but those haven't been erased yet. Wish they would. That's why I was like... but yeah, like, so they had to move Kemba Walker to get the 13th pick, to move off from Kemba Walker. Imagine this team just had Jalen Duran. I'm sure a team would have taken Kemba. You don't think the Lakers would have taken Kemba Walker for, like, Kendrick Nunn? I don't know if that's how it would have worked out. But either way, I mean, I've been saying, like, if the Knicks weren't going to get Brunson, say F it. Trade Randle for Russ. Lakers get at least a good player. Maybe you can get THG or first in that. But hey, Russ is gone next year. Randle isn't. Randle is here for 4 more years.
I forgot about that. I wanted the Knicks to do that because this was the first year that the Russ LA experiment didn't work out. And I wanted the Knicks to rebuild even more and trade away Randle for Russ. Maybe get a draft pick and then you get off of the Randle contract. And honestly, the way the salary cap has gone, the Randle contract right now looks like a steal.
But if you look at the playoffs for Brunson, that's where he kind of shined. And he also played really well when Luka was out. So maybe Tibbs is ready to replicate.
Yeah, like, oh my God, look at that. Look at that Utah series. He averaged 28 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists on really good efficiency. Damn, that's crazy.
That, in that series, can you see his points per game? Yeah, he was fantastic in the Utah series, this year. He was still pretty solid, but nothing crazy in the...
No, he kind of struggled in that Phoenix series that they won, at least efficiency-wise. Like, that's not typical Brunson. And obviously, he was insane for the Knicks against... He was good against the Cavs last year, but he was even on another planet against Miami when nobody else could create their own shot.
Phoenix series. But he was definitely better in the Golden State series. And yeah, maybe that's what we're going to get out of him. I doubt we're getting 28 a night out of Jalen Brunson.
Oh my God, he's averaging 27 right now.
But maybe they can accommodate him, but it's a lot of maybe politicking because his dad was a former Knick and works for the Knicks. So it's like, all right, well, we're going to get your kid. I mean, we might overpay for him. We might cut the whole team and have to give up future picks to get him, but we're going to get your kid. It's just like, I don't know. Maybe the Knicks will end up with a Mitchell one day. No, I'm not even going to say that because, like, I've been saying this for the last 5 years. Well, maybe we'll end up with a KD or a Kyrie or a Kawhi or an Anthony Davis. No, it's the same shit every time. And the Knicks are going to probably peak as, like, how many wins? Like, that lineup I mentioned before, Brunson, Fournier, RJ, Randle, Mitch Robb. So you have Obi, Cam, Quickly, Grimes, and Rose off the bench. How many wins does that get you realistically? If all things go well, and these guys can kind of go back to their 2021 selves, maybe that gets you 45 wins. Maybe it gets you a 6 seed. How many playoff series victories is that going to get you? Probably 0, because you're Heat or Knicks. Who are you taking? Heat. No-brainer. Sixers or Knicks? Probably the Sixers. Bucks or Knicks? Bucks. Celtics or Knicks? Celtics. Nets or Knicks? Still the Nets. And then you probably could have a good say to, or opinion to say, okay, we're taking Toronto over the Knicks. We're taking Atlanta still over the Knicks.
Do I mention Cleveland?
Probably taking Cleveland, yeah, over the Knicks. I mean, like,
this is before Cleveland traded for Donovan Mitchell even, so I was probably like, oh my God, it's no chance. And they ended up beating Cleveland. Yes, they lost to Miami. Probably would have lost to Milwaukee. Well, I don't know if they would have lost to Milwaukee because they were hurt, but definitely would have lost to Boston or I think Philly last year in the playoffs. I think Philly, who knows though. And who knows what happens this year. Like, the Knicks could be a first-round exit team. They could be a conference finals appearance team. Who knows? I guess I'm not technically wrong. Like, they could peak as, well, no, I am wrong because I said they weren't going to win a playoff series and they did, and I'm fine with them being between the 4 and the 6 seed this year. I think next year is where they can really maybe figure some things out, but if they're fully healthy, I do think the Knicks can still compete in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, and the Knicks are in the Charlotte-Washington phase, which is not where we want to be at all. I mean, obviously, I would have loved Ivy with RJ instead of Brunson. Didn't like the Fournier contract last year. Didn't like the Randle extension. It's looking day by... Like, I'm just hoping Randle plays... I mean, even if he plays well enough this year to up his trade value, like, the Knicks wouldn't move him, even though I think they should, because he doesn't really hustle, he doesn't play defense, turns the ball over a ton, He's not a winning player.
And I mean, that's not entirely wrong, but Randle as a number 2 to Brunson's 1 has definitely improved his game and his volume, like his efficiency per like his shot is. That the shots that he was taking are not as bad as they were when he was the number 1. I mean, they're still not great at times, but I do miss him. I never thought I'd say this.
I mean, he was in 2021, but I don't think that was him. That was just a weird year with half fans, half.
I was wrong.
So yeah, that is pretty much going to be for me. That's a little rant on the Knicks Pistons trade, and it looks like that they're going to sign Jalen Brunson. I will have my free agency prediction video out tomorrow.
All right, so yeah, I guess like this I think is one of my worst takes ever though, just completely bashing on the Brunson signing. At least I gave my reasons why I didn't like it, that the Knicks could peak as a certain seed in the Eastern Conference, and will Brunson be a ceiling raiser to this team? And he has been. He's definitely blown me away. I did not think he would be averaging 27 and 7 and was a borderline all-star starter in his second year with the Knicks and could be a legitimate number 1. I don't know, though. Obviously, that's been a debate with, like, Becky Hammond saying he's not a 1A player, and who knows? Maybe he's never going to be a 1A player, because those guys are Jason Tatum and Giannis Antetokounmpo and Nikola Jokic, and I'm not saying he's in that tier whatsoever, but he's definitely exceeded expectations. He's definitely proven me wrong, and I still believe that this is one of my worst takes of all time. So, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. Drop a thumbs up if you did. I got a fun video coming out on Saturday that I'm excited to show you guys. It's going to be me trying to rank the top 20 players over the last 10 years, so basically since the 2014 season. That is going to be very fun. So make sure you're subscribed for that. Drop a like if you guys did enjoy the video. I love you guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.